everyone, welcome back to my next video, which has been a long time in between, of course, but we have had, a horrible disease sweeping the world, and Christmas time, which was kind of nice, coming up for New Year's now. So let's hope we can leave that horrible disease in the past and move on. What I generally do this time in between Christmas and New Year is finish up some projects that I started during the year so I can start the year afresh. This particular one is an old cover. I made this cover a long time ago for a book, and I've had these pages waiting to stitch into it for a long time as well. Not as long as the cover, of course, but finally got to the point of, working out some pages to put in. It is a soft spine, and as I said, I made it a long time ago. I don't usually make books like this. I have stitched some in, as you can see. And I was getting down to the last two, and I thought, I should probably film this so you can see how it's done, if you're interested. So, it is, you won't be able to see here probably. There are some tiny little black dots that will show you where I'm going to stitch into, that I have just put on the inside, just with a Sharpie. It hasn't gone through to the outside, because that's a couple of layers there. Of just some quilting fabric and a nice piece of braid that I had kicking around forever, and some more trim stitched in on the join of some tassels that kind of go with the front cover, which is a really heavy duty watercolour paper that has been painted and collaged, and also had rub-ons added. Kind of whatever was on my desk on that particular day got popped in there. There's also some braids going through the spine from one side to the front to the back. It's really not the kind of style I would make today, but it is something I wanted to finish. So I'm just doing every signature on its own. You can sew them with one really long piece of thread and join them all in together as you sew, but I like to do them individually in case I make a mistake, and I can just cut one out and start again, which I had to do right at the beginning because I made a mistake, but that's all right. When you're at the beginning and you make a mistake, better than when you're at the end, so let's hope I don't make one now. So this is how I stitch in my signatures into a soft spine book, which, as I said, is not what I regularly do. So I've made my template that matches the holes, or when I made them both the template for the holes there and the holes here, they are the same. So I pop in my template for the signature in there, and I don't know if I've punctured this one already. Yes, I have. So I just get a little sponge mat there like that, pop it there, and with my pricking tool, I actually had a pricking tool at a book retreat that I was at that I broke. So this is one that I had to quickly whip up in the meantime, and obviously it's a Fiskars. There's usually a blade in it, but I had some extra needles, so I took the blade out and trapped a needle in there, and this is now my pricking tool. So I just follow the holes that I've got on the template that I created, and prick the holes through the spine and through the template, because that way then they'll match up properly with the spine there. So because it's a needle, I've just got an old, looks like a champagne cork, probably is, that I protect myself, stabbing myself on that, so I'll pop that in there. Now this is what I normally do, is I just slide this little clip along there, so I know that this is the top. It's got a T there, which matches the top here. So I slide that along, so I know that this side, when I take this off, that I'm at the top here. And thread up my needle with some waxed linen thread that I use a lot of. You can get waxed linen thread anywhere. And I always start in the middle. You can start at the top or at the bottom, wherever you like. I always start in the middle. Now this particular thing here, why I'm doing it, is it can be really tight through the fabric here. So I got myself a nifty pair of pliers to help me pull the needle through. What I normally do though, to trap the thread rather than hold onto it and let it flap around and start, I just clip it into the little bulldog clip up here, because it will hold it. Obviously if you pull it really, really tight, it'll slip out, but you don't want to do that. So then I'll find the middle hole here. So I've got 2 more signatures to sew in. There's 2 there, 1 there and 1 there. As I said, it's probably not that easy to see on the camera, and plus it's a patterned fabric as well. So I'm going in from this side. There's that hole that I want to get through, which is right there. Now it is super tight because it's a big-eyed needle with some heavy thread in it. So I grab my trusty pliers and help that pull the thread through. Now, just got to double check that's the top. And yes, that's the top of the book. There, you don't want to sew it in upside down. Not that there's anything in there, but the holes will match up better if I do it that way. Now pull that through to the back of the book, or to the spine rather. Just keep it firm. You can kind of see where the next hole is going to be because of the way these are all lining up. Some of them are a bit wonky, bit off there, but I'll just guess that it's around here and try and poke it up through the hole where I can see the black dot that I've drawn on the inside of the spine with a Sharpie. There it is. Oh, and again, getting that eye through the fabric is tight. So luckily I've got the thing there. You go through the thing here, and basically what you're going to be doing is just going in, out, through the book, down to the next one, or through the, when I say through the book, through the, oh, is that it or is that it? What have I done there? I'll just line it up again. Is that the top? No, that is. Probably closer to that one, but that's not really even where it should be. See? Don't make a mistake at the end, because then, well, if I do, I can just pull this particular signature out and start again, but I'm at a point now in this particular book that I would just like to get it finished. And into the hole there, straight through. So this is really basic stitching to put your signatures in. I think it's just called like a pamphlet type stitch. So that will come through to there. And as I said, keep it reasonably firm. You want it flat. Now what you can also do, and I've done in other books in the past, is strung on some beads. So you can have like beads going along the spine there before you go into this next one. But I haven't got any handy, otherwise I would do it. And I quite like it plain as well. Now because that one there, I hope I didn't go off the screen there too much. Because that one there, I can see where that has been. I'm going to go through the whole lot together in that one go. Come on. Yep, there it is. Pull that through. Now you're going to miss the center hole, go up to the next one, and get that in there. Gee, I really hope I didn't go off the screen. I'll have to pay attention properly with the next one. And there's the hole for that, or the mark on the spine for that one, because that's the last one there. And as I said, I'm sure you can't see it because it's a bit too patterned, the fabric. And I never put markings on the spine anyway. And this particular spine I wouldn't be able to see anything because of the way it is. Oh. See, it's got a lot of, it's a big hole because it's a thick thread, and I guess having the thread doubled there too makes it even more difficult for it to get through. So there we go. Pull that through. Go up to the next one, which I think is around there. Just going to close that so I can see it poke through. Yep, there it is, almost perfect. It was a bit of a fluke. Through the top hole that you've created in your signature, like that. Then you're going to come back down through that hole in your signature and your spine. Did that go all the way through? No, it's coming out somewhere. Where, I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay. Obviously, if you've created the hole before, it's a bit bigger. It's not so hard to get that through. I'm really worried I'm going to snap my needle in half. Have to start again. Okay, and back to the centre hole, which is right there. So when you come up, doesn't matter if you come up on the same side, but that one's leading over to that side. If you come up on the same side, you can always just tuck your needle in under the centre bit here. Just make sure everything is nice and firm. Take that little guy off. So you've got that there. Then I'm just going to tie a double knot there in the middle. And what I'm going to do later, I'll go back through the book and I might just pop a little punched out something on the end of the threads so they're not too obvious. And usually on lighter paper I choose a lighter thread, but because it was going to go through the back I didn't want that to be too obvious there, so I've decided to just go with a dark thread, which is black, and that's okay. Okay, last signature, same again. It's all just done exactly in the same way. Always check and make sure, in case you've got some things, these are just book pages and some dyed, tea stained rather, what's it called, printer paper or photocopy paper. Choose which one you want to be the top, which is going to be that one. Yeah, and just had some plastic doilies resting on them as they dried, so that's why you've got the patterning, which I find a little easier to deal with than white paper. Sorry, just had to have a drink then, I was getting a bit dry from talking. Always measure your thread, I always go just over double, so as I don't have to sort of stop halfway and re-thread because I've run out of thread. Now the thing I really like about this type of thread is you can squash it flat, so when it comes time to threading it's much easier to just get it in the hole. See, that wasn't too hard. So I've cut it already. And again, get your template, put the top at the top, the T at the top, clip it in, oops, make your holes with your special tool, or just with an awl, or with the needle that you're going to use, whatever you've got handy, and however you normally do that. I'm sure you've all made books before. And then stab through your fold of your signature. A lot of people do this whole preparation with all of the pages in one go, but I quite often find when I do that I come through on different angles. See, this one's not too bad, it's all along the fold. Sometimes I end up, you know, half a centimetre over the edge. That doesn't really work for me, so I try to do them one at a time with the same template. So move it over. Well, this is just what I do to help me remember that that is the top. You don't have to do it that way, it's just one of the little tricks that I do, and it helps me along the way. And then I just clip the end of that in there. so it will hold it. And again, repeat the same process. So, find the last dot there on the spine. It's good it's finally finished, this book. And again, straight through. Now you can go up or you can go down. It really doesn't matter, whatever suits you. So I'm going to go up to start with. Yeah, I think it's about there. Yes, there it is. Got to make sure I keep looking at the image that I'm filming here so I stay on screen. And you can go over there. Okay, through your signature into the centre, like that. Up to the next hole. Through there. Oh, come on. It's getting tough just to go through the paper. Into there. So, hope everyone's got their New Year's Eve plans worked out. Obviously in Sydney it's not going to be too great because everything's half shut down again, which is a shame, but sometimes you can't help it. Okay, straight through here. If you can't see it to go through, you can always just go through the fabric first, come out, and then go back into the signature, whatever suits you. It's all the same. It all works out the same. You don't have to do it all in one stitch. Although you think that it would be perfectly lined up and you could easily do it that way. Now, we've done that. We've locked it in up here nice and firm. We're going to go over the centre hole down to the next one, which is here. If you were to start at the top rather than the centre, it's the same thing. You just clip that onto there, in and out, in and out, in and out, come back up and tie it up the top. So, I don't know why I like that. I just prefer the centre. I do it in most of my books. Start off there in the centre. Maybe I'm just getting more strength in my hands and fingers. I don't need my pliers so much. You watch though before I finish this particular one. I'll have to get them out. Okay, now down here to the last hole there. Oops, no. Where are we? Just there. And into the signature again. Whoops, don't go away. Like that. Into here. Straight through. I don't know what that, oh, that's how old it is. The rub-ons that I had on the inside of the book are all starting to flake off, which is fine. I guess I can just stamp in there if I want some graphics or whatever in there. Okay, back through the centre. And again, well, this one I'm coming up on the same side as this thread leading off there, and we're going to tie it either side of the centre bit that we've skipped over. So just poke it through, tug it nice and firm, not too tight because you can rip all that if you're really, you know, strong and you pull it too tight. Okay. My phone has gone into low power mode. I hope it's still filming okay. Okay, so double knot, get rid of that. Cut off the excess. And there you go, done and dusted. So what I might do is plug in the phone while I'm still talking with you so it can continue, and I'll show you what else I've done in the same way. Sorry about the wobble, that's what happens. Okay, so there's that. This is a book that I also did last year, during the year that I finished just before I started this one. And this was just an old book that someone had given me that I took the original text block out of. And I kind of liked the cover because of the design on it, and that's sort of embossed. So I made the signatures to go in that, and I've stitched it in the same way on some fabric and then glued it in place. But these are all been stitched in individually as well, just not through the spine, just through something that I've stuck in the spine. And I did that with a much lighter thread, so it's not as contrasty as this other book. Now this particular one's only got about 120 pages in it. I deliberately didn't put as many pages as I normally do in my books, because by the time I embellish my pages and put the extra little things in, you know, flip out things and envelopes, etc., it ends up too open. And so I thought I will just cut back on the pages, and then at least when I put things in, it might have an opportunity to stay looking like a good book rather than a bursting out book. But that's this one here, and as I said, stitched in the same way. Most of my books are done that way now. This one's got lots of pockets on the signature covers, that sort of thing. This paper here is wallpaper. That's got lots of just little extra things thrown in there that not that I've been saving, but that I would really like to use, which I did. So there you go. And maps. And some dictionary pages as per usual. So that one, I might spend next year filling this one up with collages and different like little pockets and envelopes and that sort of thing that I see on the people that I follow on Facebook, on YouTube. So there you go. That's the first. Well, these are the first two that I've finished out of my pile of unfinished things from 2020. There's a couple more books as well that I will show you in future videos if you are interested in seeing them. Hopefully I'll be doing more filming this year, but my neighbour is going to be putting up a second story on his house, so I'm going to have to kind of work around the noise of that, I guess, because my studio is in the backyard. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful, happy new year, and that next year is so much better than this one. Not that it could get any worse. But thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.